Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a flower charm. This is the amount of space required to make your build. Feel free to make this grid in your world if you do feel as though it will help you out. And here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Although, I will warn you, I haven't included all of the plants that we will be using as well, as we are using pretty much every single one of them. Begin by coming to the front left hand corner of your grid, if you've made it. And from this corner, extend to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then inwards 1, 2, 3. Start off by placing 5 terracotta on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend right by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Join that block down to the ground, but also extend it backwards by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can then extend this 8th block across, and we can join it forwards to the front of the build. In addition to this, we can extend the corners of the build down to the ground to give us a more, well, grounded shape. Next, come all the way up to the back right hand corner of the build. All the way up at the top here, we want to move down by 1, and then extend backwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then connect that block down to the ground, but also extend across 1, 2, 3. To which you can extend that down to the ground, but we also want to extend that forwards by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. To which we can then extend that down to the ground, but then also inwards as well. It can actually just join into the actual frame of the building. So next step, come all the way over to the back left hand corner of the build, and starting from this very bottom corner here, we are going to leave a gap of 1, and then place a smooth quartz block on the ground, extend it out by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, extend in 1, right, extend towards the front of the build by 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, extend in, forwards, and then extend in towards the actual build. So that will give us this shape. And what we can also do from here as well is we can just add a couple of rows of glass block on top of it, as this is going to be sort of a greenhouse section. This is an outdoor part of the build that is accessible via coming through the build, round the back, and then you can get into this part, so it's kind of cool. We want to place 1, 2 smooth quartz blocks on top of the very first smooth quartz block that we placed. This will allow us to make a doorway, which we will finish by placing a glass here. And then we are going to... How shall we do this, ladies and gentlemen? I think that we should place a layer of smooth quartz slabs all the way around the top of what we have just made. So just all the way around like this. It will eventually extend forwards and connect back to our build. And then we are going to place smooth quartz stairs on top of the glass block area, so we get that kind of like domed top of the greenhouse. It's pretty cool in my opinion, so it'll end up looking from the sides a little something like this. Perfect. And all we've got to do is just fill the top of this structure in using some glass block, which shouldn't be too difficult. Just like so. Excellent. So now that we have done that, I feel as though that we should add some additional details to the build. So this also includes sealing up a few parts of the build as well. So for instance, this wall that joins the greenhouse area that we've just made, this needs sealing up with terracotta. The back of the build also needs sealing up as well with terracotta. This is going to make the little walkway that we're making 100% necessary, so we can't get in any other way. On the sides of the build here, so on the right side of the build, we are going to seal this up, but we can always choose to add some windows to this little part later. On the back here, we are going to seal this up also. On this side here, we are simply just going to add a little bit of glass at the top, and we will have doors that lead into this area. So the next thing that we are going to do is we will also add a little bit of terracotta here and also just behind. So this kind of creates this section to the right. We are then going to join this together at the bottom and then have a 2x2 square of glass pane to fill in this empty gap. On the left side of the build here is where a door will be, so we're going to leave a gap of 1 and then have a vertical row of terracotta like this, and we will leave enough space for the door. Now to the right of the door we want to have another vertical row of terracotta, another vertical row of terracotta on the right as well, and then we're going to add a horizontal row at the bottom and the top, and then this gives us our window shape, so we can simply just fill this in using some glass pane. The next thing that we are going to do is add 2 rows of terracotta on top of the front of the build. So we want 2 rows of 3, 1, 2, 3 on the left side, 1, 2, 3 on the right side. Join it together at the top, and then place white concrete to fill the space in. And this is where the sign for the building will go. And pretty much this is the skeleton of the build. From here we just have to add some details. So I think what I would actually like to do most of all at this moment is to fill the inside the building whilst we still have a little bit of light. So what I'm going to do is head inside the build, and the floor of the building, the inside portion, I'm going to dig up and turn into oak planks. I'm going to have a walkway that is made out of just good old stone, and that is going to lead from the back door all the way into the greenhouse section. And the inside of the greenhouse is going to be made using stone as well, so there's a little bit of continuity. I am, however, going to leave a strip of grass alone in the greenhouse that we can actually plant some stuff. So most of the plants that we are going to have throughout the build are going to be placed in pots, but for the greenhouse we are going to have some unplanted versions and some hanging vines and stuff, so it's going to be really cool when we eventually get all of that put together. So and now that the floors of our build have been filled in, we can now add a roof. So we've already filled in the roof of the greenhouse area, but we're simply just going to use terracotta to fill the roof in for the actual main building, and also for the little side part of the build as well. I think that I'm going to add skylights later though, but those will be contingent upon things placed lower than the lights. You'll see what I mean when we get to that point. Okay, so for the next part, I feel like adding a bit more detail to the front. So to do this, underneath the sign area on the front of the build, we are going to place alternating rows of white and yellow wool. So this extends all the way across the front of the build like this. We're going to drop these blocks down, just like this. And then we're going to extend the dropped blocks a row forward to give us this nice canopy shape. And then in addition to this, we are going to place, you know what, it might be actually easier just to place this onto something. We are then going to place string one row lower and in front of the canopy. And then we are going to place the carpets on top of the string that match the wall. So we'll have a really nice effect. It's got quite a nice little 3D effect. Perfect. In addition to this, I'm also going to place string in front of the top of the little window on the side here, with yellow and white carpet on top of the string. In front of this little window here, I'm going to place podzol in the ground. And I'm also going to place some podzol in front of this window section. I might just place it in front of just the entire window, just like this. In addition to this, I'm going to dig out some of the front of the build, and I'm going to start integrating it into what will eventually be pavement for a street. So I'm actually not 100% sure where to place all of the pavement. So it's obvious to me that it should be placed just like here on the right side, but I don't know if I like the idea of placing it in front of the conservatory, or at least, well, conservatory, I guess it is sort of a conservatory shape, but the greenhouse / conservatory directly, I don't know if that looks good. It might even require a little bit of oak leaves around it, or some flowers, or something just to kind of like just soften it in. I'm not 100% sure, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So now that we've added the pavement, I want to add some spruce planks. So I want a double high spruce plank wall that sits on the right side of the build. It sits directly next to the podzol. It wraps around the back and it will connect to the door frame of the conservatory. So just all the way around like this. We're going to have oak leaves as well. So the oak leaves are going to just be placed here. And then we could we'll double upon the little pathway that we have with the stone. In addition to this, whilst we are here, we should place oak doors to all of the entrances. It seems to me that those should be oak. We'll place oak doors for all of the entrances. So we have a couple on the back and we just have this little singular one on the front. So that is looking pretty good. And the next thing that we are going to do is we will make the sign. So the dreaded sign, as some might call it. Grab a loom, white banners, black dye, white dye, throw the loom on the ground, place a white banner in there with some black dye. The first letter we have to make is F. Vertical row of black on the left, horizontal on the top, through the middle, that is F. Next would be L, so vertical row of black on the left, and a horizontal row of black across the bottom, that would be L. Next letter would be O, so vertical on the left, the right, horizontal on the top, on the bottom, and there you have the letter O. W is an interesting letter, so we have a diagonal, also called a triangle at the bottom of the banner, extending upwards, also known as a black chevron, and we'll swap the black dye for the white, and we will add the white base indented pattern. So I always call it like the little bottom teeth, but anyway, we'll grab black dye instead of the white, and then we will have a vertical row of black on the left and the right, and there you have W. The next letter will be E, so that is simply a vertical row of black on the left, horizontal on the top, through the middle, across the bottom, E. We don't actually have enough space, so we'll then do R, which is a vertical row of black on the left, horizontal on the top, diagonal top left corner to bottom right corner to give us R. Last but not least, we have horizontal at the top, the bottom, and a diagonal row running top left corner to bottom right corner to give us flowers if we add the E. And all we have to do is just place this in the sign, which is the 2 rows of white concrete that we have just... Anybody else see a problem? Okay. FLOWER RS. There we go. It might have been very possible that I didn't notice that, and you guys would have made fun of me for the entire video. So, there we go. I can spell flowers, I swear. So, now that we've done that, the next thing that we're going to do is we will add... I actually never need those again, so I'll get rid of all of these. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to add a little bit more detail and set up detail outside. So I'm going to grab a lantern, some spruce slabs, some spruce fence gates, some oak trap doors, and we need some brown glazed terracotta. And honestly, that will kind of like do for now. So... all we have to do is place... We're making like a cart that kind of like advertises the flowers. So if we come to, say, this part here, so not the bottom right-hand corner of the building, but one row in front, we want to place 2 spruce slabs extending out, destroy the first one. Extend the slab left by 1, 2. And then we're going to add a couple of oak trapdoors, kind of like flipped upwards to look like wheels. And then an open spruce fence gate on the end. It just looks like a cart. We're also going to hang lanterns. One just underneath the canopy next to the window here, and the other one just either up above the door or left of it. But it's kind of more centered if it is just up above the door. And we're also going to place a glazed terracotta, brown's one of my favourites these days, next to the door. And then we are also going to have a little shelf just upright diagonally to it. And that looks pretty good in my opinion. Still not 100% sure what we're going to do with this area. Like, I don't know whether it will look weird to have this. Or, right? Like, does that look a little bit strange, or does it seem as though, like, we need to kind of outline it with something? It seems like an area that we would want to have, like, flowers in front of or something. So, we're going to have that, and we could even, like, it even strikes me as something that maybe, like, we have just, like, a little bit of podzol in front. Like, I feel as though that we shouldn't be going near that. Like, we shouldn't be walking up to it, but I guess that's my own personal thing. So, you know, do as you like, but I think a couple of rows of podzol in front of it, and then we'll plant some stuff there later. I think that will look pretty good. But now we have a lot of structure to build on the inside. So now that I've grabbed some fresh materials, we are going to head inside and we are going to work on the interior. The first thing that I want to do is where the window begins closest to the door, leave a gap of 1 and place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4 spruce planks across the window. Another row in front, gap of 1, row of spruce planks. Gap of 1, row of spruce planks. So we have in total 3 sets of spruce planks. Now, the back row here is actually going to be part of a unit. So we're going to clad the side of the unit using spruce trapdoors like this. And we will also add a shelf to this. So the shelf is going to just be at the top here, and it's going to allow us to place stuff on the top portion of the shelf. So on the left side of this, we want to have a 2x2 square of bookshelves with a lantern on top. Then we want to have, on the opposite side of the shelving unit area, we want to leave a gap of 1. Place an iron bar on the ground with a couple of oak fence on top of it. We want to create a counter space, so we're going to place terracotta here, just along the top of the build. It kind of like connects things together nicely, actually. And then we want to have a row of 1, 2, 3 terracotta extending from this wall here. Then along the back of the counter space, or behind the counter across the wall, we want to have 3 bookshelves. And then we just want to create another shelf using spruce trapdoors. We'll stick a lantern on here. And then in the corner here, we'll just have like just some more bookshelves to kind of make it look as though that it's not just like a blank space. We're going to create a window, so this window is going to be placed here, kind of just in between the bookshelves and the shelf area. It can like span an additional row over as well. And oh, we also want to place kind of like that same decoration, so 2x2 square of bookshelves with spruce trapdoor and then like a lantern. We want that placed. I guess I'd have to crowd. It doesn't matter, it can hang from the ceiling, but we want to place that here, and that provides a decent amount of light. But what I also want to do, let's just grab the glass. We'll grab stone stairs and heavy weighted pressure plates, and we want to create skylights above where the two displays are. So above where we have the two spruce plank areas, and then we're going to fill the top of this in using glass block like this, and then that's a sufficient amount of light. I think I'm pretty happy with the end result of this. So all we want to do from here with the materials that we kind of like have is I'm going to grab pumpkins, melons, flower pot, chest, composter, barrel, item frames, and we'll need some paintings as well. But kind of just like opposite where we have the spruce here, just against this wall, I'll have like pumpkins, melon, composter, chest, and kind of like stacked up on this shelf here like a bunch of item frames kind of like just spread on the shelves, and we'll fill that in with stuff. A couple of item frames just up here as well, composter, a barrel. We want flower pots in loads of places, so all on these two kind of like display stands that we have here, we want to have pots. This is we want to have item frames. This is like one of those spinny like, you know those things in shops where it's like a spinny stand where it has like stuff kind of like hanging off it that you can like rotate? That's what this thing is supposed to sort of emulate. On this counter here we'll have a stone stairs and a heavy weighted pressure plate. What else do we want to have? Like, we can stack stuff on this shelf here as well. We can place more flower pots, and of course we'll be placing flowers everywhere. But you know, we can stack more stuff everywhere as well. Like, we can even fill this window in with glass too. And this is pretty good. So this is pretty much ready for us just to run through and grab some paintings as well, by the way. I'm just going to place just a bunch of paintings as kind of like a back. I don't know, it's kind of just, it just kind of looks nice to have some paintings on this shelf, but this is ready for us just to add plants to it, which is the point that I wanted to get to. We could even add some paintings here. I like the 1x1s, like there's usually some, like these ones kind of like I think fit the aesthetic, and like that one kind of fits nicely. So kind of, and they don't have to be placed like symmetrically. Like I think that just makes it look quite nice. And then we're just going to come towards the back of the build where we have the greenhouse here. And if we have a little look, we want to grab the spruce planks, spruce trapdoors, and the flower pots as well, maybe even a lantern possibly. And right in the very center-ish of the greenhouse, I want to have a little stand here. So this is a 2x3 rectangle of spruce planks. And then I want to have... Well, it's actually easier to use another material to kind of like place this on. I want to have some spruce trapdoors, and then spruce trapdoors flipping up. So I kind of want to create a table using spruce trapdoors like this. And then we're going to leave a gap on the opposite side, and then we're going to have the same thing. So I'm not really too much of a stickler for which way the spruce trapdoors go, because we are going to litter them with flower pots. So it should take the attention away from whichever way they're facing, unless of course you do want to take the time and like, if you were so dead set on it, you could make them face this way, for instance. You know, it doesn't really matter, it's up to you. We're also going to add a shelf here just along the top. We need 4 rows, and we're even going to have another little stand here with some flower pots, and you could even place a lantern maybe just hanging from here just to kind of keep it just a little bit bright. It doesn't have to be too much. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the flower shop almost complete. So obviously the only thing that we've got to add is all of the decoration inside of the pots. Outside the flower shop, we've got to we've just got to add a bunch of flowers and plants, so I've got to grab all of those. Oh, also outside, I'm going to place pots on this cart here, and also this oak trapdoor, so that's just something that I didn't want to forget. And you know what, on top of this brown terracotta too. So we're literally going to start off with all of these plants and flowers and mushrooms that we have right here, and we will be needing more. So feel free to grab those, but again, we're using pretty much every single one of them. Not literally, but good enough. So we just have to figure out what goes in front of this window first of all. So I'm thinking a fern, maybe an azalea, and maybe a little splash of colour. So maybe like an allium might be nice actually. So why don't we place one of those? That looks pretty good in my opinion. Next, we're going to fill these pots up. I'm going to use some saplings. They're one of my favourite things to put in these carts. What do we want in front of this window? Maybe just like an azalea here, and maybe just like a fern behind it. We don't have to fill every single space up necessary. Might grab the flowering azalea again because I'm a big fan of it, and might just place it next to here. Kind of got to figure out, I quite like the idea of the azalea fern combo kind of just in front of the greenhouse. I think that looks pretty good actually. I think I'll leave it like that, and that will be the outside done. I think that we've created enough of an atmosphere with those, and we can now move inside. So, inside, I want to have a bunch of colour in here. So I'm going to grab the first row of flowers, and I'm literally just going to start stacking them in to the pots. So I'm just going to place them in a particular order. I was going to say in no particular order, but it isn't a particular order. I'm kind of like starting from the back there, and I've literally worked my way through the menu. And what I mean by the menu is if we're going to decoration blocks, like literally just went from left to right, and I'm just stacking these full. And I think that the end result is really, really nice. We are also going to place the flowers just in here. The spore blossom actually can be placed on the ceiling here. And then we can just chuck like a mushroom in here. Like, it doesn't have to be specific. Like, along the back here, we could have like another... Where could we place a... I think that... Nah, I don't want one in here actually, but another one in here, I should say. I like the effect from like these spores in here because it's kind of nice, but I don't want too much of it. So maybe back here we can have a lily of the valley and like a crimson fungus just to kind of shake things up a bit. But in here we're also going to need a little bit of diversity as well. So we need some tools. And I'm sticking to kind of like just the iron variant or the stone because they look more realistic, and maybe even some shears and stuff. And I also need a bunch of seeds too. So the idea here is to fill in the item frames that we have. So like iron shovel, iron pickaxe, an axe. Actually, a hoe makes more sense than a pickaxe. So shovel, hoe, and an axe. And if we place some shears, and then kind of just fill this little stand up using our seeds, and we can just shake it up a little bit. We can have repeats, it doesn't really matter too much. And I think that we've created a really nice atmosphere in here. I really like it. I think it's cool. And all we've got to do really is just move into the back. And we've kind of just got to figure out what we want to have back here. See if we can have some different stuff. Okay, so this is the sort of stuff that I've grabbed. So pretty much all of the saplings, some ferns, the azaleas, some different stuff. So some cactus and bamboo, sweet berries, glowberries, all of the mushrooms, some nether stuff as well, and some roots and some vines. And the idea here is that I want to stack all of these saplings in the center here, because it's just like a perfect, like we can get every single sapling just in the center here, and then like azaleas and maybe like a fern here just on this set of shelves. And then if we go for the more what I'll call exotic, I guess, for the exotic stuff, like we'll have a cactus over here and a bamboo here. And I think I'm actually going to leave that middle one alone, and I'm going to plant some sweet berries just in the grass here, because I love how sweet berries look. I think they look really, really cool. We can place the nethery sort of stuff. So, hang on, we need that. The nethery stuff in these two pots here. And then we are actually missing actual pots. So where are they? We grabbed them, and I guess I never placed pots on these shelves. But I want to have all of the mushrooms here as well, and I think it just kind of like... It feels as though that we've got almost everything in this build, you know? I think I just got rid of some of the stuff that I need. Of course. No, I think I've got it all, actually. So I just want to, just kind of like around. Just vines, some glow berries, just every so often. Just kind of like place, I think we can even place a little bit of glow lichen, just to kind of once again kind of get that feel of the kind of like nature just surrounding us. And I don't know if the glow berries are a little bit too much or not, but I like them, and we could even place them a little bit more, maybe like towards the front, so they're not in the way. But I really like it in here. And ladies and gentlemen, that is actually the build complete. And that is the tutorial complete. I do hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do remember to subscribe to the channel and click the little bell next to the subscription button. That will ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. And if you do like the look of the world that I have been building in, I don't know how much of it you have managed to see, Stream City is available to download Java Edition only for all of my channel members. If you are a channel member and you're unaware of this, or if you would like to become one for this perk, channel members are provided a brand new fresh download link for Stream City every single time it is updated. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.